attack now. Can he hang on in the OVO Energy Tour of Britain? Lines up for the sprint. Can he steal this one? 1 kilometre to go now. Is he going to take the stage? Yes, he is.
Hello, we're in Birkenhead Park for the start and finish of today's Stage 5 of the OVO Energy Tour of Britain. I was going to say welcome to a wet Wednesday in Wirral, but as you can see, the grey skies are broken, the sun has come through, and the peloton are going to welcome that. Anything to make life easier after yesterday's very difficult day in the mountains.
Under the watchful eye of the Angel of the North, the peloton left Gateshead for Kendal and this year's Queen Stage. There were a couple of attempts to break clear when racing got underway, but it wasn't until the first real ramp that Dylan van Baarle and Axel Domon managed to escape. They were then joined at the foot of Snod's Edge by another Team Ineos man, Eddie Dunbar, who bridged the gap all on his own. These three stayed clear until first the Irishman sat up and then the Frenchman did the same, leaving the Dutchman all alone. On the approach, though, to the last climb, the riders started massing on the front and getting more organised. You could sense that something was about to happen. Team after team attacked the green jersey, but every time Mitchelton Scott found a way to neutralise the threat. By now, the peloton was stretched for miles along the road with just the cream at the head of the race. Then, with less than 20 k's to go, Tony Galopin attacked. He was then joined by James Shaw and Ben Hermans, and the race took on a new complexion. Just like the run into Newcastle the day before, the break was caught in the final bid for glory. On the steep ascent of Beast Banks, just who would prove to be the strongest?
Mathieu van der Poel now makes his move. Can anyone answer the Corendon Circus rider Mathieu van der Poel? Sprinting clear. Mathieu van der Poel is Trentin, shifts his hands up onto the brake levers. This is a perfect finish. Everything now. We expected him to make this move and he's going to deliver. Mathieu van der Poel rides to the top of the climb here in Kendal. Van der Poel takes the stage.
What an incredible display by the young Dutch rider and the winner of this year's Amstel Gold Race, claiming the stage and with it the OVO Energy green jersey by just a single second.
With me once more here at the start and finish is former pro Janto Barker. And Janto, with almost 3,000 metres of climbing yesterday, we knew it was going to be difficult. The peloton was strung out, but what a phenomenal and explosive finish by Mathieu van der Poel.
Yeah, kind of tailor-made for him, really. He did do a couple of attacks earlier on in the stage, but he knew he was lining himself up for one big push right to the line.
What does that say to the rest of the peloton, and how do they react to that kind of a show of strength?
Well, it did suit him, so that's not to say that every stage is going to suit him in the same way. You know, the time trial, I'm not sure how many times he's ridden his time trial bike, which will be decisive when it comes to the final standings on this general classification. But, you know, he is pretty strong and, you know, I'm sure he's keen as well, so he's going to give it a good push.
I think Matteo Trentin will be keen to get the green jersey off his back as well, because he said yesterday he made them all look like kids. He might be able to do it today. Slightly easier stage, certainly flatter as they roll through the Wirral. Let's have a look now.
Starting in Birkenhead Park, the riders head south towards Cheshire and the historic walled city of Chester. There are 77 kilometres of racing before the first chance of Skoda King of the Mountains points on the Cat 2 Kelsall Hill. The teams then head back to the Wirral and the first iceberg sprint of the day at Heswall. That's soon followed by another dash on the coast at Hoylake and the first climb up Flaybrick Hill. There's then a loop around the very top of the Wirral Peninsula ahead of the finishing sprint back in Birkenhead Park. Birkenhead Park was founded as the first public park in 1847, with its design influencing New York's Central Park. Birkenhead itself is situated in Wirral, which is the borough of culture for the Liverpool City region. The town is centred around the historic Hamilton Square, which includes the Grade 1 listed Town Hall. And while Birkenhead is known for its industry, the Wirral has lots of outdoor activities on offer, thanks to its sweeping coastline and magnificent open spaces.
Just very quickly going to address one of those issues that's always a talking point in this part of the world. We are in Wirral, we are on the Wirral Peninsula, although some people colloquially call it the Wirral. Whichever, is apparently fine. At least that's what I'm told. Okay, got that out of the way. Janto, on paper, today's stage does look a little bit more straightforward.
More straightforward, but actually their wind is up a little bit today, and like you say, we are on the peninsula near the coast, and there's a chance there could be crosswinds, and if someone wants to pick it up, you know, we could see some splits.
One person I know most people here would love to see have a go today is local lad Steve Cummings. Let's hear from him and the rest of the riders now.
I didn't really fancy my chances up the last hill, so I tried on the penultimate hill. James Shaw did the best really. It took the hill before getting away. Yeah, but that was really the approach for us.
What can you say? We'd committed to trying to get there, and we'd gone as hard as we could, and we come into the final K and we were looking at about 11 seconds, and it was touch and go. I think if it had been a flat finish, it might have been a different story, but as soon as we turned that right hander with 600 to go, we hit that wall, and then Van der Poel came past and it made us look like juniors. He was going so quick, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think we just wanted to make the race really hard yesterday, but it seemed to be the other teams didn't want that. I think Pavel attacked, Gianni attacked, and I attacked and got away, and eventually made it across to Dylan. It took a big effort, but we gave it a good go yesterday, and it was a shame I couldn't go a bit further with Dylan, but he was super strong, and once he hit the front with 60k to go, I couldn't stay with him. So
I grew up here, I know every road everywhere, so maybe it's very nice and maybe a little advantage to know the roads.
Actually, we've been lucky, it's been good weather. We don't often get, today says something different, but we don't often get good weather in Tour of Britain, so it's actually, you know, for like 30 like bad days in Scotland, you know, with grey and that, it's worth it for that one day where you see everything, you know. It's been pretty special.
Quick word about that local hero, Steve Cummings. Grew up racing for Birkenhead North End in these parts, went on to become national champion, national time trial champion as well. Janto, I'd love nothing more to see him get the old band back together with Bernie and Renshaw and Cav going for the win today.
You, me, and I think everybody here would like to see that. It would be fantastic to see. Yeah, they could set it up for a sprint, or they could equally set it up for, you know, attack to the line up that last climb. It's something that he can do, Steve.
It would be a fairy tale, but who do we really think is going to be on the top step of the podium with the stage win today?
It's a good question. I think we've got to go back to the sprinters. While there might be a little bit of wind, I think you're going to be looking at Matteo Trentin, Chimolai. You can't count out Groenewegen.
You can't. Hard to bet against him getting his third stage win of the year today. Let's go straight now then to our commentary team of Rob Hales and Marty McDonald.
Beautiful sunny day here in Birkenhead Park. All of our jersey wearers along the start, as is tradition and protocol. We are away, rolling out here from Birkenhead Park, the world's first public park, if you're interested. Opened in 1847, and its design has influenced parks all over the world, most notably Central Park in New York. That's who's wearing what today. Mathieu van der Poel is in that green OVO Energy leaders jersey. Matteo Trentin in that light blue Cetaphil points jersey, so watch out for that as the day goes on. Rory Townsend's in red. Expect to see him up there. And then Jacob Scott's in that Skoda King of the Mountains points. Mark Cavendish up here. A lot of people talking up after yesterday. Mathieu van der Poel. That was a special finish, wasn't it, yesterday, Rob?
Yeah, it really was, and his comments after, as Janto said in the studio, he made us all look like juniors, and he did. When he hit out, when he kicked, there was absolutely no stopping him. He went on the steeper section, got that gap, and over the top just hung on, and that's the thing with him. I think he did go deep, but that's where he's from. His off-roading capabilities, his cyclocross. It's a shorter event, obviously, but you go very deep. You have to go extremely deep and be able to hang in there, and that's something that it really does play to his strengths. Ben Swift there, Clark, they were both there. Simon Clark was third yesterday, just ahead of Ben Swift.
Riders just heading past Hamilton Square here, part of the neutralised sections. So we head towards kilometre 0, where racing proper will get underway. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. Back soon.
Welcome back to Stage 5 on the Wirral Peninsula. After the neutralised zone, the attacks came as usual, but unusually, the break was chased down by the green jersey himself, Mathieu van der Poel. Eventually, 4 men were allowed clear, including that man again, Jacob Scott, in the Skoda King of the Mountains jersey. After over 78 kilometres of racing, we rejoin the action at the foot of Kelsall Hill. So over to our commentary team of Russ Downing, Rob Hales and Marty McDonald.
Coming into the first King of the Mountains of the day, Kelsall Hill, 1.6 kilometres in length, average gradient of 4.9%. And it does say we've got ramps of 17% in our race book. This man on the back, you can see Jacob Scott here. So this is a Category 2 climb. Your Skoda King of the Mountains in this black jersey is on the back here. And with, again, bit of chat going on amongst this. They all know that Jacob Scott's got the lead here, so trying to take maximum points away from him might be frowned upon.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be anybody wanting to take the points from Jacob there, but maybe his twin brother Rob might want to do something, but no, we're just joking here.
So we're hearing as well that we've got great crowds out here on this climb, and it's always good to get out on a climb, on a race. It's the riders come through a lot slower than they do on the flat, so here's a good opportunity to get out here and see the race come past. And again, a narrow road here. And when you get into this, onto a climb like this, which is really, really busy, again, it's probably quite, it's a kind of an assault on the senses sometimes when you're going past.
Yeah, if you've just been tapping away on just only the wind in your ears, and then you get here and it gets noisy. Let's say you're in and out of the darkness. It's like, whoa, it feels a bit strange. And these are the times where if the crowd gets really big, you can go too deep because you just can't feel anything. Your body's just tingling. You've got the hairs up on the back of your head, on your neck, and yeah, you can get carried away.
It gives you such a buzz. It's like riding through a football crowd. It's that big. So we're getting up on the climb here, and Vignebeau is on the front. Jacob Scott now moves up on the outside of the group. You can see it's a decent climb out here on Kelsall Hill. And the man who's wearing the leader's jersey in the King of the Mountains, and he's putting in a great performance to try and take this jersey this year. He missed out to Wukashofshin a couple of years ago. He wants to make sure he doesn't do that again, but what he's got to be careful of as well here is that with the deep crowds that he can find his way through here.
Yeah, you can't even see the summit there. The crowd's that big, but this is just awesome, eh?
Yeah, it's brilliant. So many people coming out and watching. There's been a ride out, a bit of a sporty going on earlier on in the day today. So Rob Scott from Wiggins Lacole looking to try and pull off a big pro contract for next season. Is the man wearing 196 there. Scott's just moving up here, trying to find a way through on the left as we go into the big crowds here. He's looking for the summit, just moves up alongside Matt Bostock. And we swing left. He's just looking for those banners across the road. They know that this is his objective. Vignebeau from Rewald's readiness. Jacob Scott going into today's stage with 40 points in the King of the Mountains competition. Dries de Bont was second with 27 points, 17 for Eddie Dunbar, who got himself into the breakaway group yesterday. And this is what Jacob Scott's got to do on every opportunity. Just keep banking points in that jersey competition. He'll be looking for a day off tomorrow. So there's on the flat time trial, of course, no King of the Mountains points on offer on that one. So today, get through this one, build on that advantage, and then just ride through the time trial. Tomorrow, the road just dips down here. Now Jacob Scott makes his move for the points at the top. A little bit of a sprint there. So Scott goes over the top of that one. Still 2 places on offer. We would expect to see maybe Dries de Bont, who's in here. You can just see him in second wheel behind Kern Baumann. And again, if Dries de Bont makes it into a breakaway on another date, when Jacob Scott doesn't, he can eat into that advantage as well. Baumann here, just they swing left. Back up to our breakaway group.
And the road just still rising here after the climb. It's a little bit of a false flat after this one. We dip down and then go straight back up. And here he comes. Dries de Bont is going to take the points over the top. So Dries de Bont picks up 5th place. King of the Mountains, Category 2 over Kelsall Hill. Jacob Scott taking 6 points to add to his lead in that competition. Emile Vignebeau, Bostock, Scott and de Bont are your order over the top there. First 5 across the line. And he now has a 17-point advantage in the King of the Mountains.
The race then headed back towards Birkenhead for the first sprint at Heswall. Matt Bostock took the points to protect his teammate who's in the red jersey. Rory Townsend then crashed on a corner and nearly did it again as he chased to get back onto the group. Local hero Steve Cummings also came to earth with a bit of a bang. Bostock took the sprint again at Hoylake, and we go back to the action as they approach the second KOM climb. So it's back over to the commentary team.
Through the King of the Mountains point here, Flaybrick Hill, Category 3, 1.4 kilometres in length, average gradient of 4.2%. It does have some ramps of 12% on this climb for Jacob Scott. Looking at the way this stage is going, this is the this could be the final one of the day where he's still up there and managing to take maximum points in this one. We'll go through that finish line. The final summit today comes with 3.9 kilometres. We're going to go up this again. So this is the decisive climb here, isn't it, Rob? That they've looking at anyone who comes into this, we say the summit on the next lap comes with 3.9 to go. Rob Scott is just dropped off the back of the breakaway, but if you fancy a charge at the end, a little jump at the end, this is your launch pad.
This is your dress rehearsal for the riders to spot the road. Just check exactly where to make your effort if they do decide to go on the effort, because it tops out at 33.9k on this section, on this lap, but then the next time up it, the next descent, tops out inside 4k to go, 3.9, so it could very well be decisive.
Through the line, Skoda King of the Mountains leader Jacob Scott leads through there, takes more points in that one. 33k to go. It's 33. He can see from the gap that this isn't going to go to the finish. That's 33 kilometers of energy saved for stage 7.
Yeah, he did. That said, when you get back into the peloton, it's still not necessarily easy, especially when you've got the fatigue of being out there all day from the word go. It's very stressful back in the peloton, but that said, he won't be fighting up towards the front. He'll drop into the back. He'll certainly have the benefit of more riders around him and have that slipstreaming, and the pressure will be off him. And I think he's done the best job that he could have today. Had it still been at 2.5 minutes, then you would have thought, well, he'll keep going and try and take the next maximum points. But he doesn't really have to panic, doesn't have to push on, because he's got himself a really nice buffer.
Confirmation of the King of the Mountains to Cat 3. Jacob Scott takes maximum points, building quite an advantage now. Takes that from Vignebeau, Bostock and Scott. So another good day out for Jacob Scott. This is the run-in towards the line, but there's 1 second if they catch Jacob Scott in the meantime. Even if they don't catch these two, there's still 1 second on offer here, isn't there?
There is that 1 second worth the stress involved, bearing in mind that we do have that climb. They will need to try and conserve everything they can for the climb. They've just been up. As we saw, it's not huge, but if you're on the back foot and you're starting to struggle, you could lose time there.
You could indeed. So again, this again gives you that run-in. And looking on that's the tight run-in towards the line. Rob Scott is just coming back here. He just backed off a little bit on that climb, and he's now coming back up to the breakaway group. So again, the bonus seconds would all be swept up by this group. 1 kilometre to the final intermediate sprint of the day. 30.1 kilometres on the finish line, Birkenhead Park in Wirral. And these two riders You Will Bet will just ride through here. The peloton now comes through the gate. EF Education first are getting themselves up there. And Simon Clark sits 4th overall at 14 seconds. This is the run in towards the line. There's 500 meters to go. So this gives us a good view now, Rob, of the run in towards the finish in 1 lap's time.
Yep, and the riders will be looking, checking this, just making sure 300 meters to go, and we've got that bend coming up now. 200 meters. Can they see the finish line just yet? Should be coming round in view any minute.
Matt Bostock leading through, just over 30 kilometers to go, 1 lap to go. Bostock takes maximum points there in the Iceberg Sprints competition. So Bostock from Vinjabo, Scott sweeps up 1. So that means that there's no seconds now on offer to the peloton behind. The sweep now out of the park. And around for the next loop here. So the peloton will exit the park very soon. We'll see them going through the finish line. There's Jacob Scott from the aerial shot. Jacob Scott is swept up by the Corridor Circus-led peloton. And that run up towards the line. This is a good here. You get the aerial shot here. Just you can see where it sweeps round and opens up just before the finish. You can see the trees just being buffeted by the wind there. And again, Rob, this gives you, the riders here, an opportunity to just gauge which, as that finish sweeps around like this, where do you want to be? Tight on the barriers or coming around the outside?
Yeah, well, here, normally you would think, well, take the inside run. If you've got the inside on the left hand, if you're lead-out man, you've got a lead-out man inside the last couple of 100 meters. He then peels off to the right-hand side, moving riders out. If they want to come round your sprinter, they've got to go the long way round. You push them the long distance.
We are through the line with 1 lap to go. Will we have any attacks on this final loop before we return to Birkenhead Park, or will we have a big bunch sprint? The aerial shot here of Airbus in Broughton, and they celebrate their 50th anniversary this year. It's a 700-acre site, and it makes wings for the majority of the Airbus commercial fleets. Van der Poel is defending here. He's got to watch out for those attacks potentially coming on that final climb. These two riders are doing a great job here trying to stay away. The gap, though, is down to 36 seconds. Van der Poel's put a teammate up here now. You can see Movistar are well in line as well. So Van der Poel, again, there's a communication going on here. They can see it's going to come back. Maybe when it was a minute and a half, if they could have just held them out there at that. Now he's just adding someone into the chase. They've seen that Florian Storp, after being on the front, went the wrong way, had to get back up. Maybe that took maybe a few kilometers out of the legs of Florian Storp. But now Van der Poel changes it again, adds a man into the chase. Because it's 2 against 1 at the moment.
It is, but the thing is, the one rider at the back who's doing the chasing, he doesn't have to commit and go all the way to the actual finish. He can distribute his effort in a much smaller distance, and then he knows that as soon as he swings off, there'll be other riders, fresher riders in the wheels coming behind.
Will anyone try a jump before the finish? Is it going to come down to a bunch sprint in Birkenhead Park? We have 13.5 kilometers to go. The gap is holding at 27 seconds. You have 1 rider on the front here for Lotte Soudal, and they're just swapping through and off with 1 member of Mathieu Van der Poel's Corridor Circus team, the team of our green jersey wearer, the overall leader here in the Tour of Britain, Matteo Trentin, in that light blue jersey. He's right in the pack of his Mitchelton Scott teammate. Sebastian Langefeld for EF Education first is right on the back of the train there to the front, and Emil Vinjabo definitely the powerhouse in this breakaway now. Everson on the front, really driving this one. Here come Team Sunweb in the red. And Mitchelton Scott there. Let's have a look around at the front of this one. EF Education first. Let's not forget Sasha Modolo as well, the Italian sprinter. Dylan Groenewegen Jumbo-Visma team. They will again try and leave this one late. They've had Kern Baumann up there early on in the stage. So he's used up for Jumbo-Visma. They lost Pascal Inkhorn yesterday, who abandoned on stage 4. So they're quite limited now. Pascal Inkhorn was a real driving force in defending the leads and that lead out. Hence why we're now seeing Jumbo-Visma just taking a little bit longer. They'll wait a lot longer in this lead out because they've, as we said, they've lost Baumann and they're just now down to Armin Grøndal Jansen, Mike Turnison, and Jos van Emden.
Well, that's a problem for a team when you're limited on numbers, when you're only starting with 6 riders anyway, and then you lose someone from your lead-out train. That's a big percentage that you're missing out on.
The peloton have Emil Vignebeau and Matt Bostock in their sight. Rival Readiness, Canyon DHB Blauholmes, the team in the blue. Bostock heading out there for his team today, is defended nicely for his teammate in the red Iceberg Sprints jersey, Rory Townsend, who took a bit of a tumble a little while ago, and followed not long after by Steve Cummings.
Yep, not sure if Steve Cummings is back in the peloton. It didn't look good at the time, and the trouble was just after he went down, the local rider from this area for Dimension Data.
Looking around our other teams, Chimolai has been sprinting well this week as well. The light blue and white colours there of the Israel Cycling Academy. Davide Chimolai, could he get it right today? Here come the team of Madison Genesis up towards the front as well.
Yeah, Matt Holmes from Madison Genesis just in the wheel. Katusha and Ineos just starting to move up.
Into the circuit here, and Vignebeau out of the saddle on the front, just 18 seconds. They're just leaving them out there. Are Ineos going to get up here and into the chase? Here come Katusha Alpecin. Here come Dimension Data. They're looking around here for Mark Cavendish. Let's have a look there for Dimension Data. There they are in the green and white. So Cavendish is being brought up towards the front. Alex Dowsett in the centre, and again, as we were saying a little bit earlier on, Rob, with Russ, there's only so much road to fit so many lead-out trains here.
Yeah, on these narrower roads, it's difficult. Jens de Bucherer they'll be looking after, and Dowsett trying to protect him as much as he can. Israeli Cycling Academy up on the left, but you can see the green helmets. I could just see Mark Cavendish just popping out there.
There's Mark Cavendish there wearing number 61. You can see him in that green and white jersey. Ben Swift you can see there as well. Don't forget Ben Swift today in that white jersey with the red, white and blue bands as the British national champion. So there is Madison Genesis through to the front here. Niels Pollitt getting up there for Katusha Alpecin. 10 kilometers to go. Our breakaway group holding 19 seconds here. Flick of the elbow by Emil Vignebeau with Matt Bostock. They're looking to try and hang on for as long as possible on the stage today. Madison Genesis with Katusha Alpecin are at the front. Corendon Circus up here. And at this position, John Dibben, the rider on the front here for Madison Genesis. They're on the front a little bit early for me. If they want to try and lead out, they don't have. They can hand this responsibility over to the Mitchelton Scots and the Jumbo Vismas to have them up here. They're a little bit far out here, Madison Genesis. I would leave this power late.
But it looks like there's a nice tempo being set. John Dibben, big, strong, powerful ruler. And it looks like he's just kind of tapping it over at the moment. Dowsett just sat in the wheel. They've got the position. That's the key thing. But, yeah, what they don't want to do is really absolutely empty it.
Vignebeau jumps Bostock, clearly going for the combativity award here this afternoon. So Vignebeau decides that Bostock is better off on his own here. So attacks, Bostock not able to stay with him. So the Wirral Readiness rider goes off on his own. 9 kilometres remaining. It would be a tall order to hold off the charging peloton at that pace. Dibben has a little look around here for Madison Genesis. They're trying to keep their sprinters up towards the front. There's Matt Holmes. You can see they're trying to keep him into a position. Langerfeld in the pink in the centre of your picture. The camera angle here, the front shot just foreshortens that angle very slightly, but he has a glance over. This is it. One last ditch effort for Emile Vignebaud.
Yep, well, he's committed to this. And he doesn't have any cat and mouse to play. All it is, it's about that even distribution, that delivery of whatever power he has got, whatever is in his legs. He's just got to measure that out between here and the finish. 8.4k to go, but let's not forget we do have that drag. It is that short drag, 1.4k, 4.2% average of Flaybrick Hill that tops out with 3.9k to go. And that is where, if he does start to struggle, which he will do, he's really got to watch out for that, and I think that's where the time will really fall back if he is still out there at that point. But with 13 seconds to go, depending on which sprinters teams decide to take it up, because Corendon Circus, well, they're riding tempo, but they don't have to really drive it. It's more about holding their position at the front of the peloton.
It is, and you can see him just constantly looking back over the shoulder. You've got to do what Alex Dowsett did the other day, and what Alex Dowsett said, you just got to go and you can't look back. And he is just folding the hands into the centre of the bars here, trying to make himself as aero as possible. There's the peloton. They're just hunting him down now. 9 seconds he is still holding, but gutsy effort nonetheless by this man out there all day in the breakaway group with Jake Scott, Rob Scott, and Matt Bostock now down to 1. Van der Poel finds his way through here. He's just wrestling his way up towards the front. And Jim Brown is in there as well, the Great Britain national team rider, who's well up there. Connor Dunn is bringing the Israel Cycling Academy team rider, Davide Chimolai, keeping him into a strong position.
7 seconds down to single figures, single digits, well within sight, and it's going to be difficult now. 1 second per kilometre, that's the advantage that he's got, and that's not enough, I'm afraid.
Okay, just inside 7k to go. Rob Hales is going to nip off and do our post-race interview with our winner. Russ Downing is joining me in the commentary box to take us through the sprint finish. Through the centre, Van der Poel's teammates bringing him up towards the front. Russ Vignebaud, this is all he could do here, wasn't it? Bostock was starting to tire. One last-ditch effort.
Yeah, it was do or die there. You can see it's very windy out there, and he's just trying to grind it out, and yeah, he should just give up now. But yeah, what an effort.
It is. It's almost game over, and you just see the riders there. Connor Swift just directing everyone around there. They all the lead-out trains just have a glance back here just to make sure that they've got everyone safely through. We're going to take a short break. Back soon.
Today's stage 5 of the OVO Tour of Britain. This is Birkenhead Park, and the riders will have come through here once, but we're going to have a look at the final kilometre and see how it looks. Stage 5 in Birkenhead Park is a sweeping left-hander virtually all the way around the park. It is very fast, and because there's virtually a 180-degree direction change, the blustery wind starts as a tailwind and finishes as a headwind. This makes positioning actually quite complicated. And then there's a chicane of a right and left. This all makes positioning actually very difficult. The guys will be really reliant on their lead-out men to put them in the right place and keep them off the barriers so they've got room to move. Here's 500 metres to go. Then we do another left-hand turn, probably going to be close to 65 k's an hour at this stage, where the guys now 300 metres to go, just coming to vision,
I still can't see the gantry and the line, but I know it's coming. The headwind really kicks in here, 200 metres to go. You still can't see the gantry until 100 metres to go, but I'm going to need to kick now if I want to win this. And I'm going to go all on the left. Full sprint. And then probably a lunge for the line. Yeah. That is a complex sprint, finishing with a headwind. The leader into the last 100 metres is going to need to resist the urge to come off his line and pull to the right. Let's see what happens.
Jasper de Boyst, you can see there for Lotte Soudal in the red and white. Van der Poel's teammates are on the front. They've defended this jersey well. Remember, 10, 6 and 4 bonus seconds are on the line for the winner today. 5 kilometres to go. We're running back in towards Birkenhead Park as they start the King of the Mountains, the final one of the day. Flaybrick Hill, category 3, 1.4 kilometres in length, average gradient of 4.2%. The British national team come through towards the front. Friesen, the man that took Van der Poel clear on the opening day, jumps clear here. So Friesen trying to rip this race apart again. So Van der Poel's teammates react. He's right on the wheel. And you see the Israel Cycling Academy team riders just trying to react. Trentin moving up towards the front. Friesen, big attack there.
Yeah, I don't think any riders are actually going away, but look at the faces, and yeah, there's some pain in there, and yeah, he's looking tough. Van der Poel's looking, yeah, amazing.
Van der Poel looking comfortable here in the wheels of his teammates. They're just keeping this pace super high here just to make sure that no one can try and jump clear. Friesen really didn't get anything. We're seeing a Team Ineos jersey move there, and away they go. Is this Gianni Moscon that's making the move off the front? So the big attacks go in here from Team Ineos. And Chimolai right on the wheel here. Chimolai just latching into the wheel. Chimolai's doing the right thing, giving himself plenty of drift room here.
Yeah, 10th wheel back, you can see they're all just holding the wheel. So, yeah, it's really tough here.
And again, through to the front, the teammates. Here goes Teish Benoot. Is Teish Benoot going to have a go? The Lotte Soudal rider comes through. So the sprinters, you can see, the Chimolai, Tom van Asbroek, all up towards the front just to make sure that they're into the right position. Teish Benoot takes the maximum points at the top of the climb, just ahead of Gianni Moscon.
You see Van der Poel's actually having to close the gap here on himself. He's lost all his teammates, so he's come back to him now.
Chimolai's there, Teish Benoot just had a little go. Jasper de Boyst in here. Now Clark, is this Simon Clark that's going to have a go over the top of the climb? The EF Education first rider now goes on the attack. Everyone starts to look around at each other. This is a good move now by the Aussie. They have a glance back over the shoulders at Amador. That's down on the shoulders, down on the bars now. 3.1 kilometres to go. It's Mitchelton Scott that are starting to drag this one back. They know that they can't let Simon Clark ride clear. The Aussie went into the stage 4th overall at 14 seconds. It's Luke Durbridge that does the damage and pulls him back. Connor Swift for Great Britain is up there. You can see in the Great Britain national team jerseys, they fancy their chances of the sprint today. They swing right here. Sunweb coming up on the outside of this one, but Simon Clark, easier said than done, but maybe just a little bit further down the climb, he might have stood a chance of getting away.
You can see Swift is just slotting in here behind Team GB, so yeah, he's getting a lead out from the GB boys.
Ben Swift, you can see Edmondson's having a look around. Edmondson left and right with Langerfeld right behind him. He's shouting into his radio just to check where Matteo Trentin is. Ben Swift right up onto the wheels of the young Great Britain team. He was here as a member of the Great Britain national team last year, wasn't he, Ben Swift? And he said as the elder statesman of the team, he learnt plenty of new words last year from the youngsters.
Yeah, you can see Bernie Isley. He's looking back to see where Cavendish is, and I don't think Cav's quite up there at the front at this moment.
Inside the final 2K, we're into Birkenhead Park now. The right turn, now the sprint lead-out trains will start. Luke Durbridge with Connor Swift right on the wheel. Simon Clark keeping himself well up towards the front, looking a little further down the lead-outs now. You've got Mitchelton Scott with Matteo Trentin right there. Where is the green jersey of Mathieu van der Poel? Here come more of the yellow and black jerseys. Alex Edmondson now moves up. Durbridge is done. Case Bowl coming up onto the wheels of his teammates. Where is Dylan Groenewegen, importantly as well? Mike Turnison, there's Groenewegen. We can see him very much to the front. Teish Benoot now moves through on the outside. And this group, you can see the pressure right on here.
Yeah, there's some bumping and banging on here. People are trying to find the wheel, stay on the wheel, and yeah, it's looking very tight.
It is indeed. Now the charge comes round the outside. They've been through here once already. 1 kilometre to go now up towards the line. Armand Grøndal Jansen hits the front. So for Sunweb, and they just get a little push there from the Sunweb train. Armand Grøndal Jansen, Norwegian champion. There's Dylan Groenewegen. He's right on the wheels of his teammate Sunweb, though, looking to try and set this one up for Case Bowl. Can Dylan Groenewegen make it a hat-trick of victories here? They're just moving tight onto the barriers now. Team Sunweb have controlled this race as well beautifully today. Groenewegen's team. Mike Turnison now takes off. Groenewegen's on the wheel. Chimolai is 2 wheels back now from Dylan Groenewegen. Now they launch for the sprint for the line. Here comes Lotte Sudal. Ben Swift getting up there. 200 metres to go. And Groenewegen now hits the front. Dylan Groenewegen, the challenge coming in here from the Great Britain national team. Trentin moves up, but Dylan Groenewegen takes the stage. Groenewegen takes that. Van der Poel a little further back. But importantly, Matteo Trentin, did he take third?
Yeah, looking close there, wasn't it?
Matteo Trentin has taken third, so 4 seconds. So that will put Matteo Trentin back into the leader's jersey. Russ, just take us through this sprint.
The lead out starts, what is it, 150 metres to go? And the guys from behind, they cannot move forward, so Groenewegen just got the jump on him and he was drag racing to the line.
A third stage win for Dylan Groenewegen from Great Britain's Matthew Walls and Matteo Trentin in third. The Flying Dutchman taking the podium in Birkenhead Park. The bonus seconds for third mean that Matteo Trentin is back on top of the general classification by 3 seconds from Mathieu van der Poel, with Jasper de Boyce in third. The Italian back in the OVO Energy green jersey thanks to that third place.
Time trial for me is going to be more a kind of defense, because I've never been that good into that exercise. But I have a good lead, so hoping that Van der Poel is not as yesterday in the time trial also. So I think it's going to be a good day.
An injured Rory Townsend is still in red thanks to Matt Bostock's efforts in the break, with Jacob Scott consolidating his Skoda King of the Mountains jersey. Race leader from Mitchelton, Scott, still in the Setterfield points jersey.
Well, we hope to have a word with stage winner Dylan Groenewegen, but it turns out that Dylan's gone away again. So we're going to have to talk to Ross Downing, who was Best British Rider at the Tour of Britain 2006, and Janto's with me again, Best British Rider the year before. So they do know what they're talking about. Last 50 Ks though, Russ, it was all looking a bit nervy, a little bit sketchy out there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they were pegging the breakaway, but then it was just, yeah, it was sketchy. It was quite a few towns and things. It was, yeah, it was twisty, and then, yeah, bollards and things. It was proper racing. 5 stages in, Janto, they get tired. Let's not forget they're human beings. They can turn off at times.
Yeah, they do, and they have to stay switched on all the time. Every single kilometre that goes through a stage, you know, there could be something that happens. Even just a bump to bounce your hands off the bars is something that can be really, you know, maybe that's what happened to Steve. I don't know. You know that. It's a danger.
You're right there. Steve Cummings unfortunately abandoned today on his home roads. Really sad news there that he won't be seeing the Tour of Britain through to Manchester. But let's talk about Dylan Groenewegen. Won at a canter again. Makes it look very easy for his 3rd stage win this year, Russ.
Yeah, he went at a right moment there. So I said that the sprint was going to be like pinned on the left, and he just hit him at a perfect time. They delivered him perfect headwind, so he bided his time, and when he went, he gapped him again.
Special mention of Matt Walls from Team GB, who came second. A great sprint from him. Tomorrow, though, it's a day for the testers. Let's have a look at the time trial course now.
Pershore hosts Stage 6 and the potentially decisive individual time trial. The race starts with the riders powering south out of town. The road rises slightly as they hit the halfway marker at Bricklehampton. The course then continues in an anti-clockwise direction around Worcestershire before heading back into the market town. The total distance of 14.5 kilometres or 9 miles could prove pivotal in this year's OVO Energy Tour of Britain.
Going to put you both on the spot now. Of course, we're going to see the likes of Alex Dowsett going for it tomorrow, Niels Pollitt, Dylan van Baarle, the ones with time trial capability. But who is the best time trialer out of the two guys at the top of GC? Trentin or Van der Poel? Russ, you first.
Van der Poel, but Trentin's got a jersey on his back, so he squeezes a few watts there, so it's going to be very close.
Janto, will Van der Poel's explosive nature help him tomorrow in such a short time trial?
I think he can do anything he wants, so yes, I think Van der Poel might just nick it.
The race continues to fascinate. Do join us for live coverage of Stage 6, the Pershaw time trial stage, tomorrow on ITV4. We'll be back with highlights of that at 8 o'clock. See you then. Bye-bye.